Well, David's here, and also Martha Owen is here, who's our next speaker. And hi, Martha. And Martha is I have to do a little introduction again. I'm trying to be professional with making these slides. And when I went to make Martha's slide, I actually just didn't know what to put because um, Martha does so much. So I'll just start by saying Martha is a professional storyteller, which makes any class that you go to with Martha fantastic because she can just tell you things that you never, it just is wonderful. But of course, and she's also a wonderful banjo player, musician, singer. But of course, she's a spinner. So I chose this particular picture of Martha with the great wheel or the walking wheel, the big wheel, all these names for it, and the sheep, her sheep. And Martha is most well known as being the resident fiber artist and doing the fiber arts programs for the John C. Campbell Folk School. And that's folkschool.org. I'll put the link in the chat. I will be, and David will be in Martha's March the 1st week-long folk school class from sheep to shawl. And it's already sold out. I was going to put the link in the chat, but of course, Martha's classes sell out. So her next big one like that is in November, but have a look at folkschool.org. But um, here we go. I'm gonna bring up Martha, put the spotlight on you, Martha. And hello, welcome from the wet room in John C. Campbell.
Oh, I need to fix my hair. So I decided, can you hear me? That's the first thing.
Yes, we can. Yep.
You wanted to have a view of the wet room, so I just opened a closet. Uh, I'm getting ready to start a class today at what time is it? It starts this evening at 5 o'clock. There's still room if you can get here. There's still room. And it's called Growing Your Own Sweater. So, and it also is, oh my gosh, I thought I combed my hair. I washed my hair today. I was thinking about y'all.
No, Martha, everybody's looking at your sweater because that's your own sweater, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, growing your own sweater has to do with working from the sheep all the way through the design process. So you were talking about yarn and twist and kinds of wool and all those kind of things, and that's a lot of what we're going to be dealing with or testing, and then hopefully making the start on different kinds of garments. So I don't know yet. I'll have to report in a week's time what we actually got up to, but I've had sheep for 45 years. I think it's 45. I had a daughter who was 1 month old when I got sheep, and I think she just turned 45. I'm not supposed to say that out loud. But anyway, so it's been a big adventure that started with trying to keep the sheep alive. And now I have a very different kind of sheep than I had earlier. So you all were talking about Dorset and you were talking about different breeds and the different crimp and the different ways they act and the different amount of twist and twisting devices and spinning wheels and do you apply it and which way do you go? Right. That's my whole life. So my whole life started here at this school, the John C. Campbell Folk School, when there really wasn't a studio or spinning equipment. Most of the equipment was borrowed. And we started off in a place called Open House. So when you come to the school, I will take you to Open House and show you what it's like. But essentially, it's an open pavilion used mostly in the summer for dancing and concerts and that kind of thing. And it's from the early days of the school. The school is celebrating 100 years this year. So it's dedicated in 1925. Uh, oh, it's 1926. I get that. I mean, it's 2026. We are celebrating sort of from the time it was dedicated, which was in the middle of the year, to the middle of next year. So there's extra programming, there's talks that you can go to, all kinds of, if you weren't busy enough, kind of stuff. So when I first came, it was at the time when they decided to focus on craft. So before that, it was more of it was an agricultural school helping people stay on the land. So we're coming from we're coming from the time when most mountaineers moved to the cotton mills to work, and a lot of this land here in the mountains was cut over for timber. And so the people that were left still knew about living on the land, but a lot of it was significantly depleted. As time went on, though, it became apparent that that model was not as useful as it was in the time when everybody had a cow and a lot of people had sheep. People kind of wandered away from that. And so in the 70s, which is when Martha Owen got here, the focus became craft. And any animals that were on campus, they all got sold off, and that was for some other project someplace else. And I was here for 2 weeks in open house. Our studio was this open pavilion with a hot plate and a water tap. And we started in on natural dyeing and spinning. And as they say, I essentially never looked back. Um,
Well,
you,
the wet room is like got, I mean, I hope like, as we go through, you'll give us the
we're
tour,
gonna turn
but
it around.
a lot more than a hot plate and a water tap now.
Right. Now we're trying to meet the desires of every spinner that walks into our universe. So you can come here without any equipment. Oh, let's let her, you can come here without any equipment. There will be some specialty classes, and sometimes I have to buy in more buckets. I bet you can see more buckets. We have 4 stovetops here in the wet room. We have an ability to work outside. We have a natural dye garden. What else do we have?
You got that other closet filled with all kinds of
Right, and
wheels.
it's pretty dark in there, so we're just going to look at this one some more. So there's 14 spinning wheels. I try and stock wheels that are common on the market today, so it's been a bit depressing lately to lose Lendrum. That's like, but somebody will tell me something big's getting ready to happen, and I will try one of those wheels and keep on going. So what we want is not to use antique equipment so much as equipment that you could decide to go and buy. The little electric wheels are showing up more and more for people that travel to the area. That's something that they can pack with them. Martha Owen, I'm sorry to say, is rather old in this craft. I think I just confessed that. And so I'm still using wheels that I treadle. Um, anyway, so for a class here, there's different topics. You can go to folkschool.org and you go find a class, and you can see things in different time periods and different topics. Oh, I have to show you my carrot. Do you like
Oh,
oh,
is that wood or ceramic?
that's wood.
Oh,
Friend of mine made that. And it goes with the sweater, but I'm not sitting tall enough. Um, so Gigi, what other questions do people have?
well, first of all, Margaret Radcliffe, who's one of our MAFA virtual teachers, she says hello, and she says she recognizes that closet.
Well,
And
Maggie's been here a bunch of times.
and also, I mean, when you're teaching spinning, you're teaching on what's really special about your classes is you're teaching on a multi-level. So like I'm taking your class, me and David, the first week of March, and I've been spinning for over 20 years, but I know I'm going to learn a million things about you because you can start people off learning to spin all the way through incredible fine techniques. And I buy Martha's wool from her sheep. And you're also like an expert in all the different, wool and working like directly with the wool, and then all the songs that go along with spinning and all of that, like you do these multi-dimensional classes. There's a lot going on.
So this class that I'm getting ready to, my car is sitting out there absolutely stuffed with wool. So one thing that occurred, I don't know if you pay any attention to the sheep and wool industry in America, but there's just less opportunities for people that raise their own sheep as far as sending it off to a mill. So when I first started off, I was pretty much the only hand spinner. I'm really, really, really used to being the only hand spinner that has sheep. But people ended up buying rams from me. And so we had a lot of wonderful wool in the area. Um, but all the mill opportunities are pretty much gone. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, I don't have the kind of sheep I used to have. And so now I have these funny little Shetlands mostly. I have about 40 sheep currently, and 10 of them are not Shetland. And the Shetlands, if you ever meet one of them, they're the ones that are always going under the fence and they're standing under the power line. When you ask them to come over and eat something, they're the ones that are arguing about who gets the first bite. They're the ones that come in multiple colors. They have many textures across their back. So all of a sudden, if what you thought was, I'm going to have a crowd of sheep and I'm going to take a pile of wool and I'm going to take it to a local mill, which is what a lot of folks do. Here east of the Mississippi, generally, we have fewer and fewer opportunities. So I'm exploring all of those. But the thing that I have been doing instead is focusing on the gifts of the wool that comes off the back of my sheep. So the class we're just getting ready to do is called Grow Your Own Sweater. And I just washed the last week and a half, I've been washing different types of wool so that folks have a chance to see if it comes from the neck of the Shetland. Is it the same as that comes from the side of the Shetland? Is it the same that comes off the Cormo Corriedale? I still have one Cormo Corriedale. Is it the same as a Romney cross? What are the best things? So when I just tuned in, y'all were talking about socks, socks with Dorset, socks with Scotland, amounts of twists. So that's pretty much my gig all the time. The other part of what I do is I raise colored sheep, da 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 da, and so I don't have to dye it all, but I'm also a natural dyer, and I put those things all together. So within the wet room studio, we have the ability, you can see all the pots over there, see all those pots. Whoa! So we can do all kinds of dyeing. And now we have a dye garden, and then we have equipment, and it goes various directions from make your own yarn, make your own sweater, put a carrot on it, to surface design with silk screens using natural dye sources, to watercolor using natural dyes. But then we have Maggie. And Maggie comes along and she teaches dyeing. Mostly what I've asked her to do is dyeing for different results in your textiles. So how long should a color repeat be to create what? So you could essentially create something with a very simple stitch because the colors are there in the yarn.
Here's a question I'm always wondering. Does the breed make a difference with natural dyeing? So if you're dyeing Shetland versus, merino, say,
Yes, it makes a difference. So when I started off, everybody was talking about merino, and that's kind of what I tried to keep, except for they were more fine wool Corriedale. Those kind of wools suck up the dye. They create a very even color. It may be lighter. Sometimes it's lighter than if you did a dark, a coarser wool. So the coarser wools, like a Romney or a Gotland or whatever, they take, they're more like, I don't know if any of y'all had, oh, I don't want to think on Zoom, but here I am thinking on Zoom. Did you ever have those teeny little Coke bottles that were wax and they were filled with different color? Yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I forgot
Couple
about
folks have, so that's the way the coarser wools take up the dye. It's like it's a straw with a bright color and a halo. Okay. And so the colors tend to be darker, but um yeah, they're frosty. And then the merino types and Corriedales, those kind of guys take very densely. They have so many fibers per square inch. They take a very solid color. But if you're a person like me who dyes a lot of wool before carding it and spinning, you'll notice a difference between the tip end and the butt end. They'll have different colors throughout. So then you have a choice to card it all together and get something more homogenized, or to try and enhance the difference. I really like colors my gig. So I'm trying to enhance and capture the differences I see in the dye strike. Like, what do I do with this? If I have a bag full of Romney and it's darker at the tips and lighter at the butt end and it looks like a straw with, what's the best thing to do? Do I just card it? No, I don't. I don't have to. The other thing that's really been fun for me is dyeing colored wool. So I did an article for Spinoff a few years ago in which I just took this random assortment of yarn, most of which had been given to me some way or another, and I made a shawl. And then I did a series of samples with different dye pots using all these natural colors and then what kind of color strike I get. Sometimes I do a whole thing and then I'm like, what was I thinking? That's terrible. So I just put the whole thing in a dye pot. And what you get is shades of. Or sometimes, this is the more typical thing, you think you bought exactly what you need, but then you turn around 20 years later and you still have a lot of hot pink. Do you have to have everything hot pink for the rest of your life? You've given everybody some. So no, you can dye it after it's been dyed as well. You can change your mind. An amazing thing. And since we work individually, one piece at a time, one piece at a time, we have a chance to think things over. Um, yeah, and change our mind. Wear it for, historically people, my friend Norman talks about how whenever he had a dye pot, everyone would bring their old, broken down, used up sweaters to get a new lease on life. Would he please throw them into his dye pot? And we can do that as well. We can just keep going. It's never over. That's what's so exhausting. It's never over.
So in your sweater that you're wearing, you see, like in my Zoom screen, the yellow is kind of interacting with the cream and the brown. Is that the result of, is that a natural colored wool
This
or
is all
did you dye
natural
that?
color. So let's see. I couldn't decide whether to put the overhead light on or not. The brown is the color of the little Shetland. But I made this yarn in like September. So I was thinking about September colors. My screen is not representing it very well. It's more intense than this. But I was looking for something um to match this with this. So this is applied yarn with colors blended in to make a body of yarn. Actually, I found my samples. Woohoo! This is just luck. I don't usually find samples.
We're lucky today.
This was my lucky day. So this is my sample card, which don't read the writing because, well, it's backwards for starters, but for seconders, this is just a card I wrapped things on. So I have my single and I have my plied. Most of the time, my cards also involve what spinning wheel I use. Yes, I have three. I don't have 20, I have three. And how did I ply them? What setting were they on so that I can replicate it? Then I was messing around. So here's my big sample swatch, which I think started this way. So now you can't see it at all because I've got it over brown. You'll see holes. The holes are yarn over knit twos together. And that tells me what size needle I used. Because I don't know if this happens to you, but every single thing I ever want to find, I cannot find. So it will be the little string tag that I put on there with the needle size. So instead, I have holes, and that tells me what needle size I use. Then I also want to have some texture. So I don't know if you can see, there's texture here. Do I want it smooth or do I want it textured? When I got all the way up to the top, I turned it into a circular sample. So that means I knit across on double pointed needles and I bring the yarn across the back because I'm going to knit the garment circular. Okay.
Oh, right. Like from the top down circular, right?
Yeah. Well, it was from the bottom up, but that's a detail. That's what my father would say. The other thing that was happening was I was having trouble in my shoulders at the time. So I shouldn't tell you this, but I did not hand card it. I crammed it through my picker. If anybody got a picker, very gently crammed it through my picker. And then I put it through my drum carder and then I put it through my drum carder again. This was a first shearing, so the little teeny tips were little stuck together. And when I got done and mixed all my colors and just loved the combination and said, oh, I look good, then I thought, well, there's so much texture to it. I'm going to knit something that looks like the trunk of a tree. So you can tell me how I did. So it's got smooth areas and textured areas. I was like, let's just understand that it's not a smooth yarn. And then this was the color swatch.
Oh,
This is me messing around just with color combinations. So I kind of ended up with it. But I decided to put pictures in it. So, and this also, yeah, here we go. Let's see if she can see it. Was knitted circular, if you can see. The feeling is that perhaps I'll need the yarn. And so I'm like, well, we're just not going to cut it off. So, and I also want to see how many stitches per inch in circular knitting. So I just bring the string across the back. And that's where I kind of came up with my combination. But also it was September and I was looking out the window and the sun was setting. There it is right there. Right? There's the branches.
mhm.
And there's only one of them. There's only one of me, one sweater. You know? So
It's
Wow.
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm
Oh,
working on here, I know, I just put this just so perhaps you could see it. I'm trying to replace more of a historic style Shetland one. This all comes off on my little sheeps. Oops, somehow I'm tied together. So it's,
Wow.
man, it makes me really dizzy looking on here. How about this? What can you see it? Anyway, all these are my sheep. This for my blue sheep, my red sheep, my yellow sheep. Yeah. The only problem is something happened, like I had to go back to my regular life. Uh-oh. So now I'm just right here. I was really hoping to have this done by this week, but it is not, in fact.
Well,
But anyway,
maybe it's a new fashion trend, one sleeve
yeah,
sweater.
right, right. Right now, I can't get my arm through there because it's knitted circular and I have to cut it open. But anyway, a lot of things happen here. You can tell that I'm a wool person and I like yarn and natural dyeing, but many kinds of things happen here, from crocheting garments to surface design to batik to and then on campus, what I had done was pulled up a pile of pictures, but I haven't been on Zoom in such a long time. I'm scared that I won't be able to share properly. So I'll just tell you, 15 classes happen a week on campus. And so what that means is you can come with your person who never goes to any conferences or fiber festivals with you because they're not interested, but they will come here to learn to carve a carrot while you're learning to spin. And each studio is a dedicated studio. I've taught a lot of places where we set up in hallways and motels. And I can remember the time somebody put a coffee cup on a display in a gallery. And we were doing dye pots and we were trying not to splash everywhere. But here it's dedicated studios. And so we're trying really hard to have everything that would be needed in blacksmithing and wood turning and wood carving, singing and dancing. I mean, it's just oh, here's my new vocabulary word, plethora of choices.
well, Martha, I can share my screen and just show that Campbell, this is the find a class part of folkschool.org. Look at that.
Yeah. So not all those classes happen each week, but there's a lot of them. And then there's the other things. So you've got places to stay and good food to eat. There's always something to distract you from your class, like dancing or singing or a concert. Um, yeah, yeah. As I always say, when you're coming to the folk school, you're coming to a place. You're not coming just to take a class.
Yeah.
What I loved was walking past the vegetable garden every morning and seeing what was harvested up on a table, and then that was served at dinner that night. It's amazing there.
And
There's
what
a
I love is when you sit down for any meal, you sit at a table for six, and everybody around you is so nice, and they all tell you what they're doing in their classes, which is so fun.
There's also a very active work study program. Work studies come for 4 months, I think it is now, and they take so many classes and work so many weeks. We have student hosts. Oh, and they're getting ready to have a mentorship, which y'all should check out the mentorship if you got 2 weeks free to study natural sources for medicine.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, so that'll be out of the garden.
When I taught spinning at Campbell, I had three interns or apprentices, uh,
yeah.
and they were in their early 20s, and it was fantastic because I always worry that spinning is going to go obsolete, you know? Just like when the camera was invented, you think, oh, there goes painting. But no, it stays around. But to know that there's people in their 20s who are interested in history and craft and fiber
But there's
arts.
an upswing in interest of knowing where things come from.
Yep.
And to me, that's incredibly inspiring. So I'm glad I lived so long. Because a lot of our textiles are not produced anywhere where we can check on the people and how they're getting along. So if folks are thinking for 1 minute, I wish to learn about a sheep or a garden, or that brings you a little closer to the source, makes you a little more careful, I hope, and tell your children.
Oh, well, thank you, Martha. Thank you so much for because you got to teach today and you probably like all got that truck full of wool and everything and you made the time for us.
Doing
We're
okay.
grateful.
I
Yeah.
don't have to be anywhere until 4 o'clock, so I'm doing all right.
Oh,
Last night at my house was I have a French son-in-law. I don't know how, but I have one. And he always wants to do breaking up Christmas. Does anybody know what breaking up Christmas is?
No.
It's in the mountains, it meant staying up all night and telling stories and singing. For Giraud, it means we play tunes. So I was part of the first tunes at 10:30 in the morning and the last tunes at midnight last night. And I thought, well, this is great. I'm just going to go on Zoom. I'm going to look great. I'm going to be so rested. But anyway, um, yeah, it's a big life. We all have a big life. So keep humming and keep spinning. I'm glad to see everybody there, all the spiders doing their webs. And yeah, come see us. Come to the folk school.
yeah. Oh, thank you, Martha. It's great to see you. And I'll see you in a couple months, in like a month, actually. No, couple months, month and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, just let me get through this week first, and then I'll be ready. All right.
Hey, thanks,
Here
Martha.
you go, Martha.
Gotta keep going. So bye.
Bye.